हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज के वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी क्लास 7 का ज्योग्राफी, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 3 जो कि है आवर चेंजिंग अर्थ। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। द लिथोस्फीयर इज ब्रोकन इनटू ए नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स नोन एज द लिथोस्फेरिक प्लेट्स। यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू नोट दैट these plates move around very slowly, just a few millimeters each year. This is because of the movement of the molten magma inside the earth. The molten magma inside the earth moves in a circular manner as shown in the activity. The movement of these plates cause changes on the surface of the earth. The earth movements are divided on the basis of the forces which cause them. The forces which act in the interior of the earth are called as endogenic forces, and the forces that work on the surface of the earth are called as exogenic forces. अर्थ मोमेंट्स, एंडोजेनिक फोर्सेस, एक्सोजेनिक फोर्सेस। एंडोजेनिक फोर्सेस के अंडर में आता है सडन फोर्सेस और डायस्ट्रोपिक फोर्सेस। सडन फोर्सेस के अंडर में आता है अर्थक्वेक, वोल्केनो, लैंडस्लाइड्स, और डायस्ट्रोपिक फोर्सेस के अंडर में आता है बिल्डिंग माउंटेन्स। एक्सोजेनिक फोर्सेस के अंडर में है इरोजनल एंड डिपोजिशनल, जिसके अंडर में है रिवर, विंड, सी वेव्स और ग्लेसियर्स। Glossary: Lithospheric plates. The Earth's crust consists of several large and some small, rigid, irregular shaped plates or slabs, which carry containers and the ocean floor. Endogenic forces sometimes produce sudden movements and at other times produce slow movements. Sudden movements like earthquakes and volcanoes cause mass destruction over the surface of the earth. A volcano is a vent or opening in the earth's crust through which molten material erupts suddenly. Word origin: endo means inside, exo means outside, plus genic origin दोनों को मिलकर बनता है एंडोजेनिक और एक्सोजेनिक। Similarly, when the lithospheric plates move, the surface of the earth vibrates. The vibrations can travel all around the earth. These vibrations are called earthquakes. The place in the crust where the movement starts is called the focus. The place on the surface above the focus is called the epicenter. Vibrations travel outwards from the epicenter as waves. Greatest damage is usually closest to the epicenter, and the strength of the earthquake decreases away from the center. Do you know there are 3 types of earthquake waves? P waves or longitudinal waves, S waves or transverse waves, L waves or surface waves. Try to find out the properties of these waves from an encyclopedia. Although earthquakes cannot be predicted, the impact can certainly be minimized if we are prepared beforehand. Some common earthquake predictions methods adopted locally by people include studying animal behavior. Fish in the ponds get agitated, snakes come to the surface. Do you know an earthquake is measured with a machine called seismograph? The magnitude of the earthquake is measured on the Richter scale. An earthquake of 2.0 or less can be felt only a little. An earthquake over 5.0 can cause damage from things falling. A 6.0 or higher magnitude is considered very strong, and 7.0 is classified as a major earthquake. Earthquake preparedness. Where to take shelter during an earthquake? Safe spot: under a kitchen counter, table or desk, against an inside corner or wall. Stay away from fireplaces, areas around chimneys, windows, etc., including mirrors and picture frames. Be prepared. Spread awareness amongst your friends and family members and face any disaster confidently. Major landforms. The landscape is being continuously worn away by two processes, weathering and erosion. Weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the Earth's surface. Erosion is the wearing away of the landscape by different agents like water, wind, and ice. The eroded material is carried away or transported by water, wind, etc., and eventually deposited. This process of erosion and deposition create different landforms on the surface of the earth. Work of a river. The running water in the river erodes the landscape. When the river tumbles at steep angle over very hard rocks or down a steep valley side, it forms a waterfall. Do you know there are thousands of small waterfalls in the world? The highest waterfall is Angel Falls of Venezuela in South America. The other waterfalls are Niagara Falls, located on the border between Canada and USA in the North America, and Victoria Falls on the borders of Zambia and Zimbabwe in Africa. As the river enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bands known as meanders. Due to continuous erosion and deposition along the sides of the meander, the ends of the meander loop come closer and close. In due course of time, the meander loop cuts off from the river and forms a cut-off lake, also called an oxbow lake. At times, the river overflows its banks. This leads to the flooding of the neighboring areas. As it floods, it deposits layers of fine soil and other material called sediments along its bank. This leads to the formation of a flat, fertile floodplain. The raised banks are called leaves. तो इसमें फीचर्स मेड बाय रिवर इन फ्लड प्लेन दिखाया गया है। तो ये जो है ये है फर्टाइल लैंड जो कि है लीव्स, ये है ऑक्सबो लेक और ये है meander. As the river approaches the sea, the speed of the flowing water decreases and the river begins to break up into a number of streams called distributaries. The river becomes so slow that it begins to deposit its load. Each distributary forms its own mouth. The collection of sediments from all the mouths forms a delta. Work of sea waves. The erosion and deposition of the sea waves gives rise to coastal landforms. Sea waves continuously strike at the rocks. Cracks develop. Over time, they become larger and wider. Thus, hollow-like caves are formed on the rocks. They are called sea caves. As these cavities become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the caves remain, thus forming sea arcs. Further, erosion breaks the roof and only walls are left. These walls-like features are called stacks. The steep rocky coast rising almost vertically above seawater is called sea cliff. The sea waves deposit sediments along the shores, forming beaches. Work of ice. Glaciers are rivers of ice, which too erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones to expose the solid rock below. Glaciers carve out deep hollows there. As the ice melts, they get filled up with water and become beautiful lakes in the mountains. The material carried by the glacier, such as rocks, big and small, sand and silt, gets deposited. These deposits form glacial moraines. Work of wind. Have you ever visited a desert? Try to collect some picture of sand dunes. An active agent of erosion and deposition in the deserts is wind. In deserts, you can see rocks in the shape of a mushroom, commonly called mushroom rocks. Winds erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part. Therefore, such rocks have narrower base and wider top. When the wind blows, it lifts and transports sand from one place to another. When it stops blowing, the sand falls and gets deposited in low hill like structures. These are called sand dunes. When the grains of sand are very fine and light, the wind can carry it over very long distances. When such sand is deposited in large areas, it is called loess. Large deposits of loess is found in China. तो यह है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। तो हमारा आज का वीडियो यहीं तक था और अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए और सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए, साथ ही अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। तो हमारा आज का वीडियो यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग।